to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am your host for today, Laura Lalaki, international real estate agent. And today we're diving into a topic that's hitting close to home for many Black professionals. A viral video is making waves where a woman from Los Angeles claims employers are gatekeeping opportunities, refusing to hire qualified Black candidates, and offering lowball salaries or no job offers at all. So, with DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives being rolled back across the nation, it's harder to get jobs. Now, is this just the beginning or even the start to a bigger problem? How does this trend affect Black professionals, our communities, and the ability to build generational wealth? So today we're going to explore this, and we're going to explore the realities of the workplace discrimination, the challenges Black professionals face in breaking through these barriers, and what can we do as a community to fight back. My incredible panelists are here today. It's my royal court. We have Athena Gardner, CPA and wealth coach. We have Moya, should be here soon. She is our tax professional. We have Joe Corley, licensed therapist, mental wellness coach, and educator. And we have Marlo Layson, TV film producer. Hi, my loves. I hope that you're well today. Listen, this is really just the start of all this stuff. We're going to watch this video and we're going to get our initial thoughts after this.
When it comes to the job market in LA or California, there's a huge discrimination issue going on with Black Americans. Employers are not willing to hire Black Americans, even if they are qualified. Even if they're overly qualified, they're still not willing to hire them. There's a hidden agenda at play here. And it's been going on for quite some time. That organization started to pick this up and investigate it. There's an organization in Los Angeles called the Los Angeles Black Worker Center, where they're currently investigating the discrimination that Black Americans are facing in the job industry in Los Angeles. But they're also providing resources and access to better wages and opportunities. We've seen an increase of employers only wanting to hire people from the Hispanic community, and there's nothing wrong with that because people have to work and provide for their family, but they're not doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it with the intention to control, because when it comes to fighting for injustices or speaking up about certain things, they feel like the Hispanic community is not going to speak up because they're normally quiet. And like we know, when it comes to fighting for injustices or speaking up, Black Americans are always on the forefront fighting for change. Black Americans are always the ones speaking up for everybody, fighting for change. But they feel like with the more Hispanics that they hire, it's easier to control them because some of the times they're undocumented, so they won't cause any problems. They can pay them less. They can mistreat them, disrespect them all they want. They're not going to cause any problems. And that's another issue at play. The other issue is that other people of color are not willing to speak up for Black Americans whatsoever. The only time they speak up to help Black Americans is when they see Black Americans have an advantage that they don't have. Take affirmative action, for example. When they believed that Black Americans were getting into Ivy League students based off affirmative action, when that really wasn't the case. The only time that other people of color speak up is when they see Black Americans have an advantage that they don't have. Otherwise, they are silent. It also seems like there's an issue to keep Black Americans at entry-level positions as well, and to bully them so they have a harder time moving up in the ranks. Platforms like Indeed and LinkedIn need to do a better job at regulating if these companies are really hiring or not. Because what these companies are doing are they're using LinkedIn and Indeed as a social media tool. They're posting that they're hiring and doing all these paying for the promo, but it's really a marketing tool when they're really not hiring. It seems like LA or California is trying to push Black Americans out, and they're starting with the job industry.
Baby, now if we're talking about California, which is supposed to be so laid back hippie, we got a problem. So one of the questions that we had in the chat immediately before I asked this initial question is, what type of jobs are we talking here? Well, let me just give you just a few of the companies, not all. This is not a complete list, okay? You got Tractor Supply, who's rolling back DEI. You've got Harley Davidson. You've got Boeing, you've got Ford, and you have Walmart. These are just a few. These are just 5 that I named. The list is growing massively and fast every single day. So I'm going to kick off to the panel this initial question. And I'm going to start with you, Joe. Although this woman is talking about Los Angeles, do you think that this trend is what we're going to start seeing across the country?
Yeah, and I think we have to practice acceptance when we going across the country. anytime you are in a situation and should enters the equation, it should be this or should be that, then you're in a bad space. And it, the expectation of fairness is a cognitive distortion, and this is just going to be what it is. So, we have to get ready to accept it.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to accept it, but I also think we're going to have to get on the battlegrounds. What about you, Marlo? Do you think this is a trend that we're going to see more of and quickly?
Absolutely. And the companies that you named are the ones that have said publicly, right, that they are doing away with DEI programs. There are going to be dozens of companies that are just not going to acknowledge it because they don't have to, because affirmative action is no longer the law of the land, right? So these companies no longer have to check boxes. You have these many minorities, you have these many women, double minorities, all those check boxes are gone. So it's really about to be, kind of every employable person for themselves. But, welcome to the meritocracy that we voted for on November 5th, because it is
not Ty, I say. What about you, Athena? Do you think you're going to see more of this? Now, listen, girl, we both based a lot in Florida. And you know what we got down there? We got the Satan. So what do you think? Do you think you're going to see more in your area? Because you're kind of in a more laid back area.
I'm in a laid back area because I'm 10 minutes away from Palm Beach Airport, and that Trump plane sitting right on the tarmac every time I drive by. So I don't know if how relaxed of an area I live in, but two things with this. On the negative side, yes, I do believe that from a DEI perspective, like, people are not going to be checking for us. They're very hell-bent, and Dr. Claude Anderson has warned us about this for years, of trying to make Black people a permanent underclass, and by doing away with certain initiatives and making us not, encouraging the right thing, which is to hire qualified Black professionals, it's going to, cause more of an issue. However, I do think that this might be the wake-up call we need to galvanize and focus on enhancing our skills, exploring entrepreneurship, and really trying to be as competitive as possible.
Agree. Now, Moya, you're last but not least, my love. I gotta ask you the same question. Do you think that we're going to see more of this?
Yes, to a certain extent. I feel like this has been an ongoing conversation. Initially, they called it affirmative action, then they changed it to DEI. So in terms of Black people having a place and really owning that space, I think that's been an ongoing conversation. I think, to piggyback off of what Athena was saying, is we really have to focus on what does it mean to really level up our skills? Like, what is it? Because in California, where I live, one of the codes, and I don't think it's a code, I think it's because a lot of the population is Spanish speaking, they'll put, you have to speak Spanish. And so for many Black people, we don't speak Spanish. And so the question is, do we need to start learning Spanish? Like, what do we need to do in order to just become more competitive, period?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question, because down in Florida, they got all sorts of little hillbilly stickers talking about, if you don't speak our language, leave the country. So you may learn a second language, but do you really want to speak it around somebody that has that attitude? You never know, because you never know who you're standing in front of. I want to look at some of the comments that were put under this video that we talked about, because I think some of them are on point. This one is a really good one. Unfortunately, this is happening all over the country, not just LA. It's time for us to build our own businesses and communities. Our biggest issue is that we have to learn to start working together and keep our money in our communities for more than 6 hours. The Asian community has the blueprint. We can learn from how they keep their money in their communities for at least 28 days. They have a very unique system that I've learned from my Asian friends. Now, I think this is a good blueprint for us to look at and to start doing this with our community. Most of the comments are saying that we need to get together, but are we really going to do it? So here are a couple of other comments. So true. Time to form more Black businesses. I think this is happening all over. Even if you get the interview, you ain't getting the job. Start a business. I'm trying to tell y'all, there are many times that I have friends that have been applying for really good jobs and they don't even get a call back. However, if there's a case where a gentleman put in and made his name a white sounding name and he got called back immediately. So we have a lot of things that are facing us. So I'm going to ask you, Joe, do you believe that companies ever truly committed to DEI, or was this just a temporary reaction to social pressures? Do you think
That's
they've
what
been playing all along?
that's what it was. A lot of people, obviously they're rolling them back, right? So a lot of people saw, that man with his knee on that man's neck and decided that we got to get on board in order to, get people to shop with us. I mean, look at Walmart. They was ready for this rollback, because all of a sudden now you got Busta Rhymes on the commercial, you got Nia Long and Lorenz Tate, all types of. They really, really black all of a sudden. Because you know what, we gonna keep our black folks. We're gonna keep that black dollar coming through Walmart. So no, I don't think anybody fully committed to it. It was all they all prepared, and they are prepared for this moment to roll it back too.
Well, it's interesting because there was a boycott from our community that, the Black Friday thing. And from what I understand from the numbers, that really did help because the foot traffic decreased a lot during the Black Friday event. And my hope is that it continues because obviously our black dollars really mean something if they want to keep it that bad, but still yet play the game. Marlo, do you think that, how do you think that Black professionals can navigate these challenges without feeling defeated?
Well, I think whatever you do, you got to be trying to be the best at it, right? Like you have to have a knowledge set that other people don't have. You can't be ashamed of your knowledge that you're looking for a job. You got to go out there and lead with it. Lead with your accomplishments. Be looking to accomplish things. Be looking to win awards, when you work for people professionally, because all of that stuff matters in the end in terms of your setting yourself apart in the workplace. As a Black professional, I do have a full-time job. I am a newsy type person in my day job. And it's already white. It's been white, right? Which is why we view ourselves the way that we do oftentimes, is because the way that they reflect us back to ourselves and we believe it. So I think that Black people just have to network, right? We have to network. We don't do enough networking, I don't think. I think a lot of times our networking is wrapped around social events, having a drink, things that don't really lend themselves well necessarily to networking. So I think that we just have to be smart about what this is. Black businesses that are in the market to employ Black people need to be doing so. But again, it's capitalism. People gonna do what they want. People gonna hire bots, and people still gonna be out of work. So this is a multifaceted enemy that people are fighting right now.
I have to agree with you, but we're just now diving into this conversation, but we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens, that's Queens, that's Queens, to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Yes, I don't know if you know, but I got my text right here on my phone. It says we are live and I'm on the show. So it's really easy for you to do. You want to just make sure that you text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. And you too shall get your little notification every day so that you can get in on the conversation. Now, before we move on, I want to address a comment that someone said, and it is Marie Jackson. She says, hello, is anyone listening to me? We as Blacks are our own worst enemy. Moya, I want to know what you think about that. Do you think that we are our own worst enemy when it comes to this DEI and jobs and supporting one another?
Well, something Marlo said I think is important in terms of when she said they make us feel a certain way and we to some extent have internalized it. And I do believe that. So if we believe how they perceive us, then yes, we would be our own worst enemy. I also want to say, so I was the manager of a tax office in Los Angeles, in South LA. So our market were Black and brown people. And so when we have to hire people every tax season, we would look for people to hire them to reflect our community. And the people that we could depend on the most, the people that we knew that were going to show up on time, the people that we knew were going to be there were the Hispanic people. The people that I knew would really sell in terms of when I say make the people feel comfortable, make them feel welcome, were the Black people. So it just depends on what it is that you were looking for. For me, it's dependability is really, really important. So when we talk about worst enemy, it depends on what the goal is and what we're attempting to do.
I think you answered that very well. So I'm going to ask you, Athena, should we be focusing on our own businesses instead of fighting to be included in these spaces that don't want us there?
Listen, at this point, I probably sound like a broken record on this show because I've always been pro entrepreneurship and pro skills, right? And I've said this a million times. While you are, lollygagging and trying to have friends and trying to focus on the kickback and the Thanksgiving turkey and, Kool-Aid special and pound cake, these companies are getting together and galvanizing on how they can save money and not hire your ass, how to get AI to do it, or how to get Rosalinda and Javier, because they can speak both Spanish and English to do it. So I think that, and this points to a conversation I had with someone recently, is like, what is it going to take for us as a group, as a collective? Because, all of us operate on different levels, but as a collective, we realize that no one is coming to save us, and no one is, they're trying to snatch the crumbs that we did have. They're trying to take that. So what is it that we are going to do, right? And there's several things. I've always talked about entrepreneurship. I've always talked about AI and utilizing that, because they're definitely utilizing it against you. But I do think, and more, you were saying about should we learn Spanish? I think so. Especially if you live in a state like Florida, like me and you, Lala, California, certain, like, I feel like that needs to be basic. I learned Spanish in high school and I still know how to speak Spanish. So I can get around speaking Spanish. So I think that is some certain things that we need to invest in. And if you don't know, I mean, you use Mango on all these other apps, $12 a month. $12 a month. Like, I think we just need to realize that, okay, what are we going to do to take the next step? We cannot embrace certain aspects of Black culture. Certain aspects of Black culture, we got to be honest, is dusty. We got to leave the dusty piece behind and embrace the part of us that are excellent, that are leaders like Nikki Giovanni and all the people before us would have wanted us to push that mission forward.
I agree, and sometimes I've said these words out loud. Is we've had so many fight for this struggle that we, the generation afterwards, started to reap the benefits of their struggle, and we didn't have to fight the struggle. That we got a little complacent. Now, Joe, do you agree with me on that, or do you see that as me just being like Lulu?
No, I agree with you. I agree with Athena. I mean, listen, we have taken advantage of, the pain and suffering of a generation, and we got kind of laxed. And I don't know if we are our own worst enemy. That's a little, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying I disagree with that, but we talking about, there's some white supremacists and things like that we got to get past before we start getting to our own. But the fact that we can't get out of what we're getting out of is a lot, in part, a lot due to the fact that we can't come together. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I can't speak Spanish, but, Athena can. So until I learn how to speak Spanish, what I mean? Let me include her in some of my little business deals and whatnot that require me to speak Spanish. Let's keep the dollar in our community for as long as we possibly can. And we forgot about that. We forgot about how all the advancements of any minority or any struggle or any type of civil right came off our backs. You know what I mean? And we allow people to ignore the fact that, it was us, and then we started ignoring it ourselves. So yeah, I agree with you, and I definitely agree with Athena too.
Well, as you look at this as a whole, let's not forget that this is not the only thing that is being rolled back. They are trying to, you know who I mean, they are trying to roll back any kind of reference that deals with our struggle. They're rewriting books. They are banning anything that will allow any kind of inclusion. They're also trying to ban any kind of grants for any minority communities. They're going after the historically Black colleges. You wait. However, what they're misunderstanding is even the historically Black colleges accepts everybody. But what they see is they call us woke. Well, let me tell you something, baby. I'd rather be woke than to be in a situation where they are. Because if you don't have the culture, I don't want none of it. I don't need vanilla. Give me some vanilla bean. All right. Mix it all in. So Marlo, do you think these companies that have been so quick to roll back these DEI things, are they sending a clear message about their values?
I don't think they have values to begin with. I think we're overstating what their objective was in adopting this DEI stuff anyway, right? I think we are giving Walmart and all these companies way more credit than they deserve, because they really just did it to keep the dollars coming in, right? They just did it so that in the future they could line up, like Joe said, Busta Rhymes and Lorenz Tate and Nia Long, right? That they are always playing the long game. We the ones that get up in the first half, go celebrate, and then feel like we ain't got to play hard in the second half. That's how we do. They are already strategizing the Super Bowl in week 1, and that's just not how it. They've had generations, right, to do this. They've been doing this shit for generations. So we are so behind on the game. So I think they just doing what they gonna do. Corporations want money. The company that I work full time for that pays for my health insurance, they just fired 100 people across the country and did it so quick. But me having been a person that understands how all of this shit works, I understand it so they could get the bonus, right? Because we had some issues and some changes were made at mid-year where revenue dropped, revenue tanked because of a corporate decision. So in order for them to make sure that their yacht is still paid for and they can still go to the south of France for Christmas, 100 people lost their jobs. So people really need to understand your job don't love you, right? We know the CEO of United Healthcare, that man got clipped one day. They have a new CEO, not an interim. They have a new CEO. These people don't care about you. So,
and baby, they stepped over him to get to the board meeting.
Whatever
you do, that wasn't a joke. That really happened.
Yeah, whatever you do, you need to be looking towards solidifying your future, the future for your family. You need to be looking to always extend your skill set, learn a new thing, take what you learn, figure out how those skills can transfer into something that's for you, something where you can still eat when they're trying to figure out how they're going to keep their yacht. Because you worry about eating, they worry about boating. Y'all not in the same game. And we need to understand that, like, that's not your little friend. Don't treat them like your little friend. It's a transactional relationship, and you need to treat it as such. You need to get the most out of the transaction, because they didn't do DEI because they love you, girl. They love the green dollars and the credit card swipes. That's what they love. You just a number on the sheet. Athena know what those sheets look like. She know what those numbers look like. She could tell y'all how y'all ain't real humans. Y'all just numbers. Get it together, people.
They playing chess. We playing checkers.
They playing mahjong. We ain't playing the same game. They playing damn mahjong. We ain't playing the same game.
Boy, this topic is hot, but we're going to have to take a deep breath, and we will be right back.
you want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
Get your money right. FlyNubianMoney.com. New Year's coming. New Year's coming. That means you need to get your money together. We just sent up here did we just not tell y'all that they don't care about us? Right? They not like us. So what we need to do is to make sure we take care of our own homes, our own finances, and then we make sure that we do the same for our communities. And if you don't know where to start with that, you start with us, because we have a lot of free resources for you to help you get your money right and your money tight. So go to flynubianmoney.com, download these resources. Don't wait till the new year. Do it now. Get started now. I know y'all in holiday mode, but we want to make sure that you start protecting your own financial assets. So make sure that you go there and do that now. I want to address a comment that we have. And Jenny Jerome said, no sooner did Blacks get equal protection in 1964, other groups used that victory to get immigration reform, and their numbers overwhelmed us. They are not our friends. Moya, what do you think about that statement?
So, and I'm glad that you brought that up. And I also want to say something about what Marlo said, because it is true that there is another game being played, but the question really becomes, how do we learn that game? Because what happens that many of us do is they say that they're not our friends, and then after work, they go home, and then that's it. But the reality of it is that you have to, if you're going to look at it as a transaction, as a business, then you have to look at yourself as a business professional and think about, what are the networking opportunities that I could be a part of? Do I need to stay late to show and to do more, so that way I have a stronger foothold and position in what it is that I'm doing and what I'm bringing to the table? I think that we need to really look at this so much as we have to play the game versus saying that that game wasn't made for us and then we don't play at all, because then we're going to repeat the same cycle. We have to learn the game. You have to learn to smile when you don't feel like it. You have to learn to make small talk at the water cooler. Like, you have to learn these things so that way we can get further. And then once we're in the door, then we can start making different decisions. But first, we got to get in the door.
Baby, study those. If you're stuck in a position right now where you can't get out of, and you know you still have a good position, study what they're doing. Don't just go in and put your 9 to 5 in. That's good. Put your 9 to 5 in, but make sure that you pay attention to what's going on. If they're asking you to learn something new and they're going to pay you to do that something new, take it. Use it for yourself. This is how you're going to launch yourself. You may feel like you're stuck right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't pay attention to what you're around in order to elevate yourself. Now, Athena, I mentioned earlier that, you know, the Black Friday event where Walmart really did see the differences of numbers in foot traffic. I want to ask you, how can we hold these companies accountable for excluding qualified Black candidates? By doing this and other things, what are some of your suggestions on this?
The only thing that we can do, because Walmart it's a giant, it employs, I think, a great percentage of employees in America. I haven't shopped in Walmart in a long time, but the only thing you have as a consumer is where you spend your dollar. That's it. Other than that, nothing else, no protests, no yelling, no screaming, no shuck and jiving, no nothing can cause these corporations to do anything. The only thing that no one understand is the bottom line. Trust me, as a CPA, and thank you, Jenny Jerome, for shouting out my credential and putting some respect on my credential, honey. Because to pass that CPA exam, it is harder than the bar. And a lot of people don't understand and know that. And less than 1% of CPAs are Black. So thank you for shouting me out. But what I will say, that I consult for corporations still. And I can give you an example, right? If a company does not meet a certain revenue target, right? For example, there's a company I'm working in, they made half of the revenue target. They done laid off twice, done 2 layoffs. A lot of these, like Marlo said, executives will lay people off to try to hit that target. So not only can they get their bonus, so they can keep their job, because guess what's about to happen to this company? whole sweet about to get axed, and a new sweet is going to come in. That is the only thing that these corporations don't understand, is the bottom line. And that is what we need to look at our own personal lives and see, what is our bottom line? What can we do? We need to position ourselves in a way that you become indispensable, but not necessarily muling yourself to death, because as Black professionals, a lot of us work ourselves to death and still get axed, right? What I learned from going to a tier 1 school for my industry and working for one of the, actually 2 of the biggest firms in the entire world, was that it didn't matter how smart I was. I was more credentialed and smarter and had more things on my resume than my peers, right? What mattered was who they liked, who they went to lunch with, who stayed at the happy hour, even though they were drunk and came to work in the same goddamn clothes with halitosis in my breath the next day. But yet they are being promoted. They're being promoted and going on to the next level, while I'm getting the harder jobs and doing everything, breaking my back, and they're getting promoted, right? So we have to play the game like everybody playing the game. And that is what we need to do. Do I think we need to go into degrees and fields and certifications and credentials that are difficult? Yes, we cannot skate through what is about to come. We cannot do that anymore. Do we need to learn another language? Yes. Creo que necesitamos aprender español para nuestro futuro. I think that we need to learn Spanish for our future. I think we need to learn these things. You cannot skate as a Black person with this Trump administration coming in January. Listen, I'll be scared too.
I'm telling you, you need to up your game, and also you need to open your mind to not just being put in a box of the United States, period. But I do want to throw a kink into this, y'all, and I wasn't planning on throwing a kink, but I'm going to throw a kink. Now, with all of this DEI rollback and many things, many companies just not caring anymore, you do have people who are trying to take advantage of saying that they are Black owned. And we have to be a little more careful about those companies. And I'm going to call one out, Roscoe's Waffles and Chicken in Los Angeles, California. If you go down there, if you go down their Instagram page, I don't see not near none of us. And there is a debate right now of who really owns it. With that, I'm going to ask you, Joe, is it better to expose these companies, or is it better for us to do our research before exposing these companies who may be pretending to be Black owned?
Yeah, no, we should do our research and then expose the companies, right? If they pretending, because if our dollar's not going where it's supposed to go, that's really the only thing that matters. That's all they care about us for, is where we spending our dollar, which way is it going, and what they can get out of us. And I wanted to also address, like, piggyback off something that Moy was saying about how we need to learn certain things in order to catch up. When my son was in getting transitioning from regular school to homeschool, we had to do something called unschooling, right? It's where you sit at home with your child for an extended period of time, trying to get the traditional school system out of them so that they can be prepared for what we finna do in homeschool. And that's the strategy we got to apply to our professional lives as well. We got to unlearn some of the things that we have learned about what it means to be professional, what we were basically taught in school, how to walk in lines, how to, listen to whatever they saying or whatever they doing, so that we can, be workers. We got to unlearn that stuff and start learning how to be business owners, entrepreneurs, and that it's okay for us to be Black doing those things. And I know if you are an entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying when I say that. It's okay to be Black and be a business owner. You don't have to, code switch and all those other things, because there's a whole community out there that wants to, engage in whatever you're doing. So yeah, we do need to do our research, expose the companies that are not Black owned, and push up the ones that are Black owned, so that we can deal with each other.
Totally agree with that. Marlo, so Are companies offering lower salaries to Black professionals because they just assume that we'll accept less?
Yeah, I mean, most employers work off the you should be happy to be here. It's a mindset, right? And I think if you have to advocate for yourself. That's one thing I learned once I got into corporate television. You got to advocate for yourself. Like Moya was saying, I'm passionate about producing, right? That's what I love. I love telling stories. That, it's my jam. I'm really good at it. But I stayed late. I learned how to do graphics. I learned to edit. I learned to shoot. I worked with guys that, I didn't really like much, but they were really good at the job, right? And so I think you have to want it. That's what we're talking about. You got to want it. And are they going to try to lowball you? Yes. You know what you can afford and what you can't afford. You know what your level of work is, because I know some people that want to make more money, but the work, it ain't justifying. It's not aligning, right? The quality of your work is also very important, right? So if you go in there and you able to finagle your way into the salary that you want, and then you get there and you can't do the job, you're underperforming. You now have made it hard for the next person that is Black to come along and be able to negotiate for what it is that they want. So I think it's a lot of things at play. This is not a single symptom illness, right? This is like so many things are going on at one time. But like Joe was saying, you really got to take the bull by the horns, and you have to be assertive. Like, I cannot say enough. Understand who you are, what you will and will not take. I talk uptown New Orleans at work. I bring uptown everywhere I go. They get the whole me experience in that space when I'm there for that time, right? And I'm unapologetic about it, but I'm good at what I do. So what you gonna tell me? Who gonna pop me? As my girl said on the Housewives, right? You have to know what you know if you're going into these spaces and looking for these jobs, and you got to be as confident in yourself as you are in your work. And then it's got to show. It can't be a show. You got to show, because I guarantee you the next Black person that comes in line looking for that job is going to be judged based off of your performance, right? And them getting in the door will be based on your performance. So you are essentially a gatekeeper. So if Black people having a hard time finding jobs, it may be because the Black people that are inside the building already are making it a little bit hard for them.
Agree. Boy, y'all got a lot of agreement on the beats down. Let's go and kick back instead of just throwing out these things. We still got a lot to talk about. We'll be right back.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes, yes, yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
Our magical email. We sprinkle a little fairy dust on that. We do a little bit of everything on that email. So if you would like to be a part of the panel, you have a lot to say. Boy, these comments are popping today. And if you want to come and sit in this seat and get your comments out and get your views out, we have a place for you. Right? So go ahead and email us and let us know that you would like to be on the show at info@realvirtual.net. Now, here's another thing I want to tell you about this magic email. If you have something that you need help with your business, then you also can email us and we can help you with that as well. Let us help upgrade you. Sometimes you just need to take certain things off of your plate and you just need a little bit of help. So all you got to do is reach out to us. We have the resources to help you there as well. Make sure that you do that. The magic email is info@reelvirtual.net. So we look forward to hearing from you. Now, Moya, I want to ask you a question before we go to the next little slide that we have, because you said you worked in a tax office and you were a manager. So how do we empower Black professionals to negotiate better salaries and advocate for themselves?
I think one of the things, and Marlo touched on this, is that we have to already put ourselves in positions. Like, you need to see what are some of the industry awards that they have. What are some of the regional places that you can be at? And LinkedIn has a really good opportunity for professionals to post and host a blog. I think those things really can set you apart. So when you're coming in and you're negotiating, you automatically stand out in those areas. You become a thought leader in many ways. So you just have to position yourself as such, and therefore it allows you to negotiate a salary that you truly deserve because you have the record to prove what it is that you do. One of the other things that I think is important is if you really know your industry, like Athena, in terms of CPA, I would also encourage you to self-publish a book. You put it on Amazon. And so now when you're going in there and you have that on your resume, you automatically stand out. So when you're asking what you're asking for, they almost feel like, can we even afford her? Now the conversation has turned. So it's about doing these things that automatically will set you apart, especially when you're going to negotiate.
That's right. And there are so many resources out there now that you don't even have to take a full college course. Like Udemy and places like that have many different places where you can learn new skills and include that in your resume. So don't let yourself feel like you are being stuck, because I'm all about writing the books. I'm all about creating digital products. I'm all about AI. I'm all about learning something. I'm learning the second language too. It ain't an easy language, but I'm still going to learn it nonetheless, because a lot of the world already teaches their children more than one language. It is America that does not. We shun it where the rest of the world embraces it. So I want to bring up this graphic because it's something we definitely need to talk about. A federal appeals court voted 9-8 to scrap the diversity rule for public companies that require them to have at least one woman or minority on their board of directors. So what does this really mean? NASDAQ can't mandate diversity on the boards of companies listed on exchange. The decision comes more than 3 years after the Securities and Exchange Commission approved NASDAQ's proposal to boost the numbers of women and minorities on U.S. corporate boards. The policy would have required nearly 3,000 NASDAQ-listed companies to include at least one woman and one individual from a racial minority or from the LGBTQ plus community on their boards. Now, a lot of the times people think when you say racial minority, the first thing they think of is us, right? But you are also talking about the Asian community, the Hispanic community, the Armenian community. You've got a lot of that mixed into this. And I think that we are going to see more outcry, not just necessarily from us, when these people and these other communities, just like the video said, are now going to see these things hit their community. Marlo, I'd like to hear your thoughts about how that ruling is going to affect us.
Well, I mean, we're making America great again, right? We're going back to a time before the time. That's all this is. I live in Louisiana, the state with that ruling, and I watch our governor since he's been in office almost a year now. I watch him appoint his friends all the time. He's constantly appointing people to head up boards. His friend is about to head up the ethics board, and that one friend will select everybody on that ethics board. So I think that I'm not going to get into politics, because your vote, this is why voting matters, right? Because now you can't get a job, and you can't get a job because I ain't gonna get into it. But I think that all this means is that we are going back to where we were before. You mentioned Armenians and Israelis and all these other people with these ethnic names. The difference is they all have ethnic names, right? Swatskawuski is an ethnic name, right? But the anticipation is that this person will probably be a fair-skinned person with light brown, green, or blue eyes. So they don't care about the country of origin as much as they care about the likeness. And so it's not going to matter, right? People with ethnic names are going to be on there, but Shaquana is not. And if Marlo is selected in the end and one of the finalists, once I show up for the in-person interview, I probably ain't going to be on the board either. And that's just the way that it is. They told us they want a meritocracy, which means there's only certain people that are merited to do certain things. And that's all we're seeing. I'm not too excited about any of this because this is America, right? And this is the eggs were too high, and now you're not going to have a job to buy the expensive eggs. So hooray to you, like that, like that's where we at with it. And I'm not mad, I'm not aggrieved about this, because I have a skill set that I could do other things. And so if today or tomorrow another 100 people at my full-time job gets clipped, and I'm in that number, it'll affect me because I won't have health insurance, but it's not going to affect me very, very long because I have other outlets to do what I do. So I just say everybody needs to, I think somebody said, I don't know if it was one of the commenters or one of us, if you don't have a legitimate side business, or if you don't have a registered business or are a entrepreneur in that way where the government knows about your business, you should have a side hustle. You should have a side hustle. You should be able to sustain yourself and your family. And if you lose that full-time job, you should be able to expand that side hustle into something that can sustain your life. And that's where Black people got to be. That's what our mindset has to be in this time. Nobody's coming to save us. Athena's already said.
I totally agree. Now, let's switch this up a little bit. Okay. So we've all touched on the fact that we can have our own businesses. All of us here do, right? But can you, Joe, I'm going to ask you this question. So how can mentorship programs, with us having our own business, can we also be mentors to help address these barriers into the entry into the corporate world? Can we reach around? Can we really reach around and bring one with us?
Now, yes, we can. Okay. But let me speak on this because mentorship is critical for what we actually have to do and understanding where we have to go. And a lot of people with the information are rightfully so charging for it. So, we got to figure out a way to incorporate it in the way that we educate from the ground up so that, it's not so foreign for a young person to be like, how am I going to start a business? How am I going to, work things out for myself to use my talents and gifts to get somebody to pay me for them, but when we get up to a certain level, like the same saying, we got to do that from the ground up. And I'm talking about for the younger people. Now, we're talking about people in their 30s and 40s. Unfortunately, like there's a lot of people that have this information, but they're charging for it. Okay. So there's got to be programs in our communities. And there are some programs in our communities that, kind of get you on the ground level. But then once you get off the ground level, you got to be willing to pay those people that are, specializing in building these businesses and incorporating structure for what they're worth, because, this is how they make their living. You know what I mean? We can't expect everybody to lift us up from the ground up without, a little bit of a push or a little bit of boost to their income. So it's a catch-22 sometimes, but we're going to need to be able to talk to those people that have walked through like for me, if there's a young therapist that's about to walk this walk that I've walked, I'm gonna give you the groundwork. Now, if it becomes me doing a lot of more work than you, then you got, we're going to turn free into fee. But,
Right. We
I'm
have
not.
to respect people's times as
That's
well.
right.
I mean, we do have to respect their skill set and their time. So that's just not to say everybody has to turn around and do something free. We can help you get on the right path. But you've got to want to understand that that person got on that path from hard work as well. Moya, I know you had something to say.
Yeah, I just really want quickly to add with what everyone's saying. One of the things that I think it's important for us to understand, that's true. Nobody will save us, but I do believe that when we have the mindset that even if I go into the interview, nobody's going to hire me anyway, then that's going to be true. But if we go into the mindset having, I have everything that it takes in order to do this job and to do an excellent job at it. And if this person doesn't hire me, then I'll be able to go to the next one. I think we need to take that mindset, because otherwise it's going to be a really, really long 4 years. So we just have to approach this with an understanding of we have everything that it needs in order for us to get to where we need to go. And if we don't have it, then we need to go get it.
Ooh, baby, it's gonna be a long 4 years regardless. I'm just gonna tell y'all how I feel about it. I'm dreading these next 4 years, and I am already setting myself up where I'm not trying to look at the news every day because I don't want to be depressed. But we're still gonna continue this conversation right after this break. We're claiming it. 2025 is your year for home ownership, and we are going to get you to that goal. Who's we? Fly Nubian Money Club and me, Laura Lalaki, international real estate agent, and we have a wonderful session for you about how to get you started on the path to home ownership. We'll cover the steps. We'll answer a lot of the questions that most people have, because when you are educated about this process, it makes it more fun and a little easier than if you step into it without knowing anything. I can't wait to spend some time with you to get your juices flowing and to get the excitement flowing, because 2025 is your year. Make sure that you come to this class and you invite someone else, because it really is important to own your own piece of land. I look forward to seeing you. Bye. Well, guess who you get for some time tomorrow? You get little me. I am so excited for our first session with FlyNubianMoneyClub.com. We are going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about, if you're not a homeowner, how to get you on that path and what that entails and all the steps so that you can understand the process. And then there is a bonus that is tied into international real estate. So if you're really interested in learning the basics about that, please make sure that you sign up. I'm really excited about this. Can y'all tell this is my wheelhouse? Now, here's the thing. If you sign up now to come to this class, you're going to get Fly Nubian Money Club for a 30-day free trial. So you're not going to have to pay anything for that. That don't mean I'm free, but no, we'll talk about me being free later. See, I know my worth, but I'm also willing to share what I know to help you get on the right path to home ownership, whether it's stateside or abroad. So I cannot wait for you to come and spend some time with me. So do that now. Don't get your little device. You can do two things. Go ahead and sign up now so that you can hit this class tomorrow, and we'll have more awesome things for you down the line. Now, listen, I'm going to ask everyone this question, but I want us to keep it kind of in a short answer mode, because I think it's something that we do need to address. And maybe if we have some tips that we can share with others, that would be good. I'm going to start with you, Athena. And the question is, because it's very important, what advice would you give to a young Black professional feeling discouraged about these hiring trends?
The advice that I can give you that will supersede all advice that I have said today is the one thing you need above everything is audacity. Okay? Even me, sometimes I say I need the audacity of a mediocre white man. Okay? That is what you need in this life. Audacity. Put it like this, right? I can give an example. When I was in grad school, I was the only woman in my negotiation class, by the way, the only Black person in my negotiation class. So everybody was Wahite men, okay? Guess who never lost a negotiation? Me, okay? To the point where the men were scared. We were teamed up, but the men were scared to come against me, right? And whoever was my partner fall back because he knew who was gonna bring it back home, and he followed instruction. Second thing, there was a time where I was consulting. I was in between contracts and I needed the money, meaning that the bills needed to be paid next month, and I got the job, right? But I did not like the salary. I felt like I could get more. Mind you, I had no money coming in, but I had to talk to myself. I said, Athena, you got to negotiate off of worth. Okay, you got to negotiate off of worth and not what reality is. So guess who had the audacity, with no other job lined up, to negotiate with these people, asking them for 30% more money, and got it? I did. So all you need in this life, they're talking about all this credential. Yes, still do that. But no, all you need is the audacity of a mediocre white man and white woman. Kim Kardashian working on her law degree, and she never went to law school.
Baby, Kim Kardashian got where she. Oh, excuse me, that's another show. Joe, I wanna ask you, what advice do you have to give to a young Black professional feeling discouraged by these hiring trends?
Go holler at Athena, because she got all the answers apparently. So that's my advice to you. No, listen, and listen, and all of these smart Black women and that's talking to you, like, this resources is out there for one. Okay, so be resourceful. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is, don't be afraid to jump off the porch. I think that's the biggest part of starting a business. I was talking to some young guys last night, actually, and they had all these great ideas for businesses, but everything they were saying was like dripped in fear. And I was trying to tell them, like, listen, do you have a name? Okay, start with that. Okay, do you have a tax ID? Okay, start with that. Make the one step, then take the next step, and next thing you know, you took 5 or 6 steps, and you're a businessman. You know what I mean? And now you're gonna get somebody that because that feeling that you get, and this is what I told them, that feeling that you get when somebody first pays you for your skills and abilities is unbelievable. I got a picture of me going to the bank, cashing my first little check. Like I couldn't believe somebody paid me for what I do, but they will do it. So my number one advice is jump off the porch and then fill in the blanks. Because sometimes you think everything got to be perfect, right? You know what I mean? Like, there's things that I'm learning right now as a business person that I know when I started, but if I had waited for those things to come to me, I would have never got started. So, and then listen to Athena.
Baby, when I first started in real estate, I came from a secretarial background. I knew nothing about sales, but I made it a point to go and learn the things that were really hot at the time. And at the time, foreclosures were hot. And while all these other real estate agents was like, oh, don't worry about it. They never bothered to learn those. Half of those ended up getting out of the business, and I ended up growing because I took the time to learn the hoods, the short sales, the foreclosures, and I was able to get people houses. So out of necessity, you're always going to find something to help you succeed. Marlo, what is your advice?
Necessity is the mother of invention, right? So like Joe said, you got to make the move. You got to be confident. You got to know that you know what you know. One thing about me, nobody could tell me about what I know. I know what I know. I know what I've learned. And every day I'm learning more, right? I'm very intentional about learning and growth. And so I think you got to be that. You have to feel like is nobody better, nobody more qualified for the situation than you, whether that's reality or not. Because if you approach it that way and you want to learn from your mistakes, you can only get better. So I love what y'all doing in the chat. I want to shout y'all out in the chat because at first, Marie, I didn't know what you had going on, but I see that the people are uplifting you and supporting you. You apparently cook and the people are encouraging you. So that's something that we got to do. We got to encourage each other. We got to support one another. We have to be each other's hype people. Now, not if you do bad business. If you do bad business, you get no hype from me. But if I see you competent, you professional, you doing your thing, I'm definitely going to shout you out. I'm definitely going to make people know that you are great. And if they need that service, they need to figure out how to get in your cipher so that they can get it from you. And we got to do that for each other because, we got, y'all.
You know what? Don't be that crab in the barrel. Don't be that. Don't do that. Don't tear down someone who is doing well and doing good. Now, if it's a bad business, it's bad business. But don't tear down someone just because you don't want them to succeed. Moya, what are your suggestions for those who are feeling discouraged?
Yes, so mine would be read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think one of the things that we have to do is just think about how can we work the room? How can we get people to believe in us and on our side of what it is that we bring to the table?
I agree. Now, listen. We have really had a good conversation. And what I have brought out of this is the fact that we are keeping it positive and we all have the same message. We must be able to uplift one another. And so this hour went really quick, really quick. We've laughed, we've talked, we've come up with solutions, which goes to show you we have solutions. Now we all just need to jump on board. So we're going to start with our final thoughts, and please tell us where we can find you as well. We're going to start with you, Joe.
My final thoughts is this is America. Childish Gambino wiggle, like Marlo said, and you got to recognize where you at and adapt accordingly. Some problems are solvable, and some problems, we just have to adapt. And you're at where you're at, and if you're not going to leave, then you got to deal with what you got to deal with. So, increase those skills. Jump off the porch. Do what you got to do to sustain your income, whatever way you got to do, and make sure that the control is not in someone else's hands. Because when they feel like pushing that button, they will push it, and you will be out in the streets struggling. So whatever you got to do to get over your fears, you should get over them and get it done, because no one's coming to save you. I'm sorry. And that's just the truth of it. And when the sooner you realize that, the more peace you will actually be. You can get past that fear and you enter a realm of peace. So you can find me, Joe Corley, on all platforms, real you, the letter U consulting.com. If you want help getting over those fears, come holler at me.
Do that. You got your homework assignment. You know what to do. You've been here long enough to know that we all are waiting for you. We do love the wiggle, Joe. Wiggle. That song's gonna be stuck in my head all day long. Marlo, where can we find you, and where are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are thanks everybody for being here watching us today. This was a very important topic. Know your worth. Know who you are. Do good, right? Because a lot of people don't want to admit that they don't do the right thing, and they wondering why bad stuff is coming back. Be the right kind of person out here in these streets. Have the audacity of a white man. I never thought about that. I just always thought about having the audacity of me, but I'm going to pick up a little bit of their audacity, and I'm about to be unstoppable with Athena's advice. I think you should take it as well. If you're looking for me, I'm in these streets. I create content under my name, written and visual content. I'm also on the social media platforms. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm Ora Marlo, first name, backward, forward, _ At the beginning of 2025, I will be chronicling my bodybuilding journey. I'm going to attempt to qualify for an amateur competition, so we'll see how that goes. If y'all want to follow along and watch my body transform, you're more than welcome. I'm also on Blue Sky as Low McLeod.
I love it. I'm going to follow your journey, Marlo. I'm going to follow your journey. I'm going to watch you do your thing, sis. Do your thing. So I suggest that y'all do the same, because that is uplifting content, and we're going to need more of that in the coming years. Athena, what is your final thoughts, and where can we find you?
Listen, I already said have the audacity of a mediocre white person, okay? Look at Kim Kardashian. Look at Donald Trump. Is he very credentialed? No, but is he about to run the country and tell us what to do? Yes. So have the audacity that you need to knock down doors and get yourself in position to what you need to do to accomplish the greatness that you are, honey. Now, I realize there's a need for all this sugary goodness and advice that I give. So I am working on my community, but it is not up yet. However, if you want to be in the know and glow, you can find the wait list for my community under join my exclusive list at elevatewithathena.com. Also, AI is pressing on y'all next, and that's why these employers are trying to get rid of you. But you want to learn how to utilize AI to do your business that you clearly need to start because they're rolling back all this DEI. You can find my latest and greatest course, the AI Business Launch, available at elevatewithathena.com. I have all of my social media, podcasts, and links to everything with this goddess at that website as well.
Make sure you do that. You don't want to miss anything that she has. Athena has a lot of great tools and resources for you as well. Moya, what is your final thoughts and where can we find you?
Yes. So the biggest thing that I always say is that you got to get yourself in the game. You don't want to take yourself out of the game before it even starts. And you don't want to worry about your Blackness or what you don't have. Just focus on what you do have and then hone in on that. My name is Moya. You can find me on Instagram at moya.business.
Make sure you go and check out our beautiful Moya as well. She is spitting knowledge. Now, listen, here's what I got to say. Our ancestors did not fight for us to lay down and be silent. They've given us the tools and they've given us a blueprint of how we can move forward to help uplift our company. Listen, organizations like the Black Panther Party showed you exactly how we could take care of our communities. It's not that hard to do it once again. So don't feel like you are hopeless. Be hopeful. Never let someone tell you how you're going to be because your mind is a lot bigger than you think. And you know what you could do to protect your families and yourself. Get to it. It's time to get dirty, get those hands dirty and get the skills that you need to get out of the dirt. Okay, brush those knees off. Now, here's what you can do to find me. I make it very easy. If you go to bit.ly/Laura Key Info, you will find all of my resources, free resources, as well as videos, as well as where you can find me. And I look forward to connecting with you, especially tomorrow. Shameless pitch. Come on, sign up. Fly Nubian Money Club right now, where you can learn about educational information for home buying. We'll see you there. Now, listen, we got a lot going on in America, but we can overcome it, right? And don't forget, I'm sorry, the class tomorrow is from 10 to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you needed to know the time zone, make sure you do that. We've got a couple of things before we go. First, if you are trying to connect your business to some other people, you're trying to get the word out about your business. We talked about uplifting one another. We can do that for you on Fly Nubian Money. We go live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m., dead solid. Okay, very rare you're not going to get us unless it's a special holiday that you don't see us. So why not come on and advertise with us so that you can get connected to people who are looking for you as well? All you have to do is hit that magic email at info@realvirtual.net and put in Fly Nubian Money ad in the subject line so we can send you our ad rates. And also, we've got a couple of big announcements before we go, right? Number one, we want to make sure that we send a shout out to Nikki Giovanni. We lost her this week. She was such a huge influence on our community that we don't want to go by another show without uplifting her and saying into the light and thank you for your service. I think we all have been touched by her. She's one of those people who are showing you that you can fight and grow, right? She's poetry, right? If you write poetry, I know you know who she is. Then we also have a couple of birthdays that we didn't acknowledge. We didn't acknowledge Joe earlier this week. So happy birthday to you, Joe. But we also have Minister Connie. Minister Connie's birthday is today. So we want to definitely wish her a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Y'all was supposed to sing with me. All right. Now, y'all left me on the hook for all of that. Listen, you see how much fun we have. Happy Friday, everyone. Come and see us tomorrow for the class. Come and hit us up on Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be happy to see you. Thank you for always supporting us. We love you. Peace out.